Get the hookah out.
Face the beer level voice. Nobody knows what we're drinking.
Yes, we can't promote the official beer of Arizona. Dos Equis.
But likes the official beer of Arizona.
Yeah, that's probably true. I like the official beer of everybody that doesn't have any money.
ASU students are poor.
Maybe Tecate.
There's actually, I don't think there's much to talk Tecate.
No, there really isn't. But it is pretty good.
It
Surprisingly. I don't know why. It's better than Coors or Corona.
Definitely better than Coors and Coronas.
Anyway, welcome to the first episode of Days of Our League. A B-Stick over here.
Hello.
CEO of ballerdomains.com. It's an actual website. Which makes it even better.
Hey man, we gotta make a living somehow, okay?
And me, of course, Strider. Sit Down Gaming representative, of course. Website up soon, so stay tuned for that. But basically, this whole show is all about drama. Because everybody loves drama as long as it doesn't involve them. So this is going over all the League of Legends drama that's happened over the past week. Basically, what we're going to start with is Woong's new team has been charged with cheating. I don't know why they were cheating, since before they cheated, basically the background of the story is, so Woong's team, MIG, they decided that once it got to the last game, one more loss, as they were getting rolled, one more loss, and they would have been out of the tournament. And so they're like, we want to do a last minute sub for this game, and they were told that it's against the rules. So what they did was that they just had somebody else log in under their AP Mids account and just do it that way and try to cheat everybody. But, I mean, come on, it's a South Korean team, first of all. So who's not going to be perceptive of that? Who's not going to... That's what they do there. They take everything seriously. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
when the items, like the potions are in different item slots, the boots are in different item slots, and I don't know about anybody else, but even if you're in Bronze League, you typically have a particular slot that you keep your shit so that you know what button to press. And so they obviously got kicked out of the tournament and charged with cheating. Once they were like, oh, I think it was this guy that was cheating, once they saw that on the chat or on the stream or something, he hopped into a game real quick to make it look like he was not the one cheating. Because he gave his account information to the other guy that they swapped accounts, basically. I don't know
what you're talking about. I was in this game the whole time.
It just makes absolutely no sense. Yeah, it's like in Champion Select, he's like, I wasn't playing for them. Or was I? It's just a completely different, I don't know. What are your thoughts of the cheating?
I mean, there's no real way to prove it. They'd have to get like riot logs of where the logins came from, but I mean, yeah, most people flash on F. I see people with their flash on the wrong side. I'm always like, who does that? That's wrong.
Yeah, you don't have a flash on F.
I can't play like that.
That's an OCD style LOL player. Yeah, I mean, they didn't deny it is the thing, because once they're like, no, you cheated because you had a different guy because of this, this, and this. As soon as they got
defensive about it, I mean, that's pretty much saying, okay, you got us.
Yeah. Yeah, it just made absolutely no sense.
We didn't think you'd notice.
So they got disqualified. Disqualified. It's a new word.
That's how they say it.
Yeah, that's disqualified. Yeah, it sounds legit. So, yeah. That is just embarrassing. I mean, if you're going to have a shitty mid laner, you either roll with the mid laner or you get a new mid laner. If they had that guy as a sub, or if they had the guy access to the team, why didn't they just have him on the team?
Yeah, at least put him on the roster.
Yeah.
We have quite a few the backups, so. But you can't just pull people randomly. Yeah, we'll try this guy out this week. Just have him log into your account, see how it goes.
Yeah.
If not, no harm, no foul. We'll just try somebody else next week under your name.
Reminds me of those old weekly tournaments that they had. The Go for Lol tournaments. I don't even know if they're still doing it, but I mean, they had so much controversy over that because they had an all-girls team then, before Team Siren.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They had like Chowster and like a bunch of TSM and COG players playing on their accounts. And so they're just rolling people, and they're like, yeah, I don't think so. Because you could tell, you're like, no, because at that time girls were not good. I mean, now the girls are,
They're
diamond.
few and far between.
platinum.
We're not saying there's no good players that are girls out there, but I mean,
But
they're
at
few
the
and far
time.
between. 90% of the people are guys. The other 9.9% are girls that play the bots all day.
Yeah, it's rough. But at the time it was just not, because everyone knew how they played because they were streamers, obviously. Because the girl streamers are relatively popular.
Yeah.
Or infamous. One
I
of the
played
two.
Miss Me Rose the other day in threes. Played her. We were on her stream.
Did you put on your shit kickers and kick some shit?
We stomped them, but it was pretty bad match.
Who was she playing with? You remember?
I can't remember who she was playing with. They weren't high rated. They were like high gold, low platinum players.
That's still not bad though.
Yeah,
Compared to everybody, I mean, still being
it's not too
platinum
bad.
is what, top 2%?
Then I got to watch her stream and watch her work afterwards, and that was like the new meta for watching somebody stream.
Okay.
If you're not familiar with her work, you should go Google it.
Yes. Probably.
If you're over 18.
Yeah, of course. Disclaimer. Over 18 for all of this. This is hookah. Sheesh. 100% legal.
Tobacco. Buy it at the corner store.
Flavored tobacco.
Not illegal.
You can buy it at the corner store?
Yes. They have it in little packets, the little plastic baggies. Buy it.
Oh, just tobacco?
Of the
Of the
shisha.
sheesh? Really? Like Starbuzz or worse?
It's the whatever the packets we used to use were the baggies of them. I can't remember what
It
they're
was
called.
probably Star. Well, we use Famari. Those are baggies.
I don't know. They're in baggies. I know the ones come in tins too, but
Yeah, those are Starbuzz.
yeah, those are the Starbucks
Yeah.
ones.
But they also had a bag inside the tin, which
I don't
made
think
no
it was
sense.
Starbucks. There's something.
Anyway, we're getting off topic. Too much rambling. The next topic is Chaox retiring from professional play. Do you think it's going to be official? Like, is it a real retirement or is it a Reginald retirement?
Well, I think for the time being, it's probably a real retirement. Like, he feels that this is the way to go. He wants to go this way. But I mean, he's so young. I mean, there's nothing to stop him from coming back. If any major team ever reaches out to him, it's like, hey, you want to join us? We're losing our ADC. Do you know he's got to go to the school, or he's just quitting, or his mom took away his computer? I mean, he'll probably jump on it. But until then, I mean, streaming's the way he wants to go. There's just no openings, he said, that are available. I mean,
He was approached by Cloud9 though. Cloud9's number one
Yeah, Cloud9's
now,
been
but
stomping people.
they approached him before LCS started, as far as I know.
I don't know. Maybe he just feels at this point in time he just doesn't want to be in the professional scene anymore. Maybe it's just get to it with all the travel and the pressure. It's not easy.
Yeah, I think the main part was when they offered it to him, he already had his trip planned for going to Asia, being China and all those other places. So
that makes sense. So then they
and he was thinking
back,
about going on a Chinese team, and then when he got back, he's like, no, the communication's too different.
Which that seems kind of like a bogus one because I mean, yeah, he says he can speak Chinese, day to day. He does. He speaks it. That's cool, but he says the communication gets a little bit off. But I mean, that's what playing with a team does. It builds your communication. I mean, to a certain point where you barely need to talk at points. I mean, you're going to be yelling out stuff in the team fights and stuff like this.
Yeah.
But once you're with a team long enough, you get a feel for the rhythm and what everybody wants to do, what everybody's mindset is going into a fight.
Yeah, and what's the vocabulary that you use playing League of Legends? I mean, you're not using the whole dictionary. You're using a very select few words.
If you listen to like the backseat stuff on some of those tournaments when they're screaming in those fights, that can be confusing with four voices coming at you at once,
and if you're
yelling
not
different stuff. And so if you're trying to take it all and you're not used to it all the time, yeah, that could really mess you up. But
that's true.
Again, if you play with them enough, if you're on their team, you're obviously going to be playing with them on almost a day-to-day basis. You'll probably get used to it. You'll be able to pick up the voices, what they're saying. And, there's probably 100 different commands you're going to have to learn to recognize from all four of your teammates. But that just over time we'll get that.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know what his deal was, because I don't know if the Chinese professional players get as much money as the NA players, because I know the NA and the EU players get quite a decent amount of money, but I mean these are like third world countries almost, so they don't make as much money.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
in my
it's
opinion,
not Korea.
as far as money wise goes, I mean TSM was like what the highest grossing team, maybe CLG, but I mean TSM is huge. So going from TSM to not TSM is a pretty big chunk of money, and streaming gets you a really nice.
Yeah.
Streaming gets you a lot of income depending on how good you do.
Even some of the lower streamers that aren't like tournament players, like people like Guardsman Bob. I mean, he lives off of his stream, and
Yeah.
I mean, he started as a hobby, and now that's what he does. He sits on there and just an entertainer. Great people, so as long as you're entertaining and you're good, people will watch you. There'll always be people to watch.
Yeah, is it Phantom Lord?
Phantom
I don't know
Lord,
if he has another job, though.
I don't know if anyone has another job. I would assume so, since he doesn't stream quite as consistently as some of the other streamers.
I know he streams like at really late hours and really early morning.
So yeah, he could have another job. I don't know for sure. I watch his stream from time to time, but
Yeah.
yeah, definitely you can make a living just off the streaming. It's no big deal, and I mean that sounds awesome. I would love to just sit there and play all day.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry. All you have to do is be funny.
You have to make a name for yourself. You have to be really funny. You have to be able to do something that nobody else can do, because it's not easy, because I've seen people streaming for a year or two straight and not break more than 200 viewers.
Yeah, so I mean, you've got to have something there. You've got to have either, or you could have somebody vouch for you. I've seen people, they put up their friend's stream at the end of a stream, and suddenly that stream has 10,000 people on it. Like, we're here because of this, and you might get some followers from that, and that'll build it. But I mean, you're always going to lose out to whoever referred them.
Exactly.
So.
No one's going to go back to that one person. A lot of times when they do that referral, people only show up for 5, 10, 20 minutes and then they leave.
I've had a couple that I've gone from one stream to another, and I've followed them. So I have quite a few on my follow list now. They'll pop up every now and then. I'm like, oh yeah, go watch it. But definitely, that getting your foot in the door takes a while.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Because I remember when streaming first became popular, when it was like Hacha GG always hitting 10, 20K. And then there was this group of streamers. It was like 4 or 5 streamers that did a 24-hour stream, and they were barely breaking. And it was probably 6 streamers, but they were barely breaking 500 viewers at a consistent basis. When there was 10, maybe 15 streamers total, but at the same time, nobody really knew about it.
But yeah, that's the other aspect, though. People watch the professionals because they're professionals. They want to watch them and want to watch the best. You want to emulate that. You want to be that good when you play. So you watch them, see what they do. You try and copy it, and that makes you better. But there's also the entertainers, which are funny, and you like watching them because it's just fun to watch their streams. Then you got the best of both worlds, like Odd One and Dyrus are just funny all the time, and they're really good. So those are the guys that have tons of streamers, because not only are they the best of the best, but they're also hilarious to watch.
The Odd One's freaking hilarious.
Yeah, Afro Moo, all those guys are just funny to watch.
He used to be weirder in person. It was so funny. Just be like, yeah, he does a lot of sound effects. I'm like, what? Because when I was watching his stream, I don't remember him doing many sound effects. But when we saw him in person, we went out to eat and everything, I was talking to Chaox, and he's just like, yeah, he just makes a lot of sound effects all day. I was like, what? And so I was like, I don't believe you. It's because obviously I wanted him to get Odd One to make sound effects. So the Odd One was with his girlfriend. They were just walking along, and so Chaox turns around and he's like, hey, do that army sound effects thing you do. And he's like, so he just drops his girlfriend's hand and starts running around, and he's all, yeah, they're behind the bush, and they're like, I'm like, what gun sounds like that? He just went on for probably 20 minutes of these stupid sound effects. It was hilarious. Like, what the hell is he doing? So weird. Oh, God. No, that was too funny, though. I had no idea. It was just a sound effects machine, and they're all bad.
He is no police academy.
No, exactly.
But yeah, so I mean, Chaox's decision, absolutely. Being a streamer, way less stressful, fun, and I mean, he doesn't really have to worry about anything except playing every day and talking to his fans, listening to his fans, see what they want, and as long as it keeps them happy, he'll be fine.
Yeah,
so
just like you said, I mean, people watch the pros to become better and to emulate what they do. And he said he was going to do a lot of tutorial-based streaming. So he would go through a champion and say, okay, this is how I play this champion. Here's how you should play it. He'll go over his mistakes. I mean, he's really analytical, a lot more than people give him credit for.
Yeah. So, absolutely. I mean, his retirement, as far as his mindset right now, that's all he's going to do, but there's nothing to keep him from coming back if you ever, the opportunity presents itself.
I don't think it'll stay for very long. But the next topic is going to be OGN and Riot allegedly in talks about hosting the World Finals in Korea for next season. So not season 3. We're in season 3 right now, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, season 3. So season 4, the finals may be in Korea. Produced by OGN and Riot, like collectively. If nobody knows who OGN is a South Korea broadcasting company that does all the StarCraft stuff and a lot of the League of Legends stuff. Their production company is phenomenal, best in world, I would say.
10 years to perfect it. So
yeah, it's freaking crazy. But would it be a good or a bad thing to have the finals in Korea?
I don't see a problem with it. I mean, it's going to be interesting to, everybody's already traveled for this game. They travel all over the place. Korea, I mean, I don't see any problem with them holding it in Korea. I mean, unless there's some sort of restriction on what the players can do or what they can, maybe they can't do certain stuff while they're there, that some of the people can't go there. I don't know, but I don't see any problem with it just from like a fan's point of view.
Yeah, but you're speaking for the player's point of view. Yeah, you'll go to Korea maybe, but think about like how many people can afford to travel to South Korea. I mean, South Korea is its own kind of little thing apart from the rest of the world, pretty much.
Wang of Asia.
Because it's like North Korea, it's like China, North Korea, South Korea. So it's basically an island that you have to go to. You can't just drive through North Korea to get to South Korea and be like, "Hey guys, what's up?"
It's gonna be cruising on through here. No,
yeah.
I don't want any trouble.
That doesn't work that way. So, I don't know. I think it'll be difficult for fans to actually go there because I don't know how much space is there. I don't know how many big arenas they have here because I know in Europe and NA they have these huge stadiums for other sporting events that they could house thousands and thousands and thousands of people.
They've got them there too, though.
I don't know if they're that big though.
I've watched some of the broadcasts, some of the StarCraft ones over there, and they pretty good sized arenas. I don't see too much problem with that. I've seen some big ones there. And if not, I mean, they could get like one of the concert halls even. I mean, the concerts they have over there, it's the same size.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I mean, they could find the space for it. I don't think that would be a problem.
Yeah, I'm worried about. I guess still more worried about the fans because, as we said earlier, I mean, people watch to learn from the pro players. So they can do that from the stream, but going and experiencing an event is something that not pro players do or not aspiring pro players do typically. You'll see more casual players just wanting to meet who they've been watching for 2 years. You meet a lot of casuals or semi-casuals and just not professionals. Because every time when I was there, I mean, there's tons of signings. You're going to get a lot of fanboys and fangirls for players, but I mean in Korea it's so serious, so people that are going to go there are going to be there to watch the games, but at the same time they can just watch it from home and analyze it in the comfort of their own place with their manager there, their analyst, a bunch of other stuff with a quiet environment, be able to replay it on YouTube and like rewatch plays and stuff like that. And I don't know, I feel that there's going to be a lot of issues with that because I think if the tournament was located in EU or NA, the fans, like the general public, would get more out of it. So yeah. I think if we brought OGN from Korea and had them help produce it in Europe or NA, it would be much better than having Riot and all the fans and everybody go to South Korea because that's expensive there. It's almost as expensive as Japan.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt it'd be an expensive trip, but I mean, just like any major sporting event, it's regardless of ticket price,
yeah,
the fans are gonna go. I mean, this is basically the League of Legends Super Bowl here. I mean, Super Bowl tickets go on cost for $3,000 for nosebleeds, and it's sold out every year. I mean, regardless of where they hold this in the world, it's gonna sell out, and people will pay to get there. So it just depends on the fans, and I mean, there's enough of them.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't think that's going to be the issue for it.
I hope not. I really hope not. I don't know if we'll be able to afford it, but I'll have to know soon so I can start saving.
You got a year to prep.
I know. So we got about a year and a half to save up for it.
The idea behind it. You got a year to save your pennies and nickels and dimes and get yourself a passport.
Have to save multiple pennies, nickels, and dimes every day for a year and a half
since you were 10.
maybe some quarters. Also, the next one is they're finally starting to open up an oceanic server. So for the New Zealand players, the Australian players, we'll have a server that's not North America. So you won't have 500 to 1,000 ping on a constant basis anymore. Good or bad?
I think that's fine. I don't see any problem with that. Actually, I made a Smurf on one of the Latino servers the other day, and I actually, when I clicked that little select your region, I had no idea there were even that many places you could join. There's about 10 in that drop down. I was like, wow, I didn't even know there were this many.
Yeah, there's.
So adding the Oceanic, I don't think will be anything big. And it's just going to kind of...
To me, it kind of sucks that it's happened this late. I mean, it's been 3 years since the game's been released, and so all the Australian players have been playing for 3 years have a ridiculous amount of just friends on the NA server or the EU server, depending on where they're playing from. And, you know, even I have a lot of Australian guys on my friends list, and so I'm just going to lose all of them, and they're going to lose all their friends. I mean, granted, they'll be able to play with a lot of their Australian friends.
They can still play on their current accounts, but, I mean, if they want to...
No, they'd have to transfer their account. Because you'll get a free transfer.
Oh, you get a free transfer.
Who wants to play for 3 years?
Or they can just make another... Or they can just make a new character, and they can play on that for their... You know, if they want to do ranked queues on one and build up another champion to where they don't have lag.
But who wants to play for 3 years, buy skins, champions, invest money if they did, and then just play it half the time? Like, you have almost all the champions. If you're a diehard, you'll have all the champions, all the runes and everything.
They have the option to change. They don't have to go over to those servers. I mean, those servers are opening up as like, here, we're giving you this finally. Sorry it took so long, but you can play without lag now. You can transfer for free. Here, we're giving you this, but you don't have to. They're not making it mandatory. If they made it mandatory, it might be a problem.
All right, going from 500 to 1,000 ping to 20 makes it mandatory.
No, it doesn't. They're used to it by now. Like, they play 3 years on that much ping. They know to throw out their skill shots 9 feet in front of the enemy. They'll hit them. Like,
they're all sick and tired of being in bronze because they can't hit a skill shot.
I only play Rise. Like, all targetable spells. We got this.
You have to start pressing your buttons 3 seconds before you get to the enemy.
Well, that champion can just roll and walk at them. Like, eventually the smart cast can pick up. Like.
Exactly. I don't know. It'll be good for them, obviously, but it'll kind of suck for the people that have friends.
It'd be cool if they had a copy paste function, just copy it from one to the other, so you have it in both places.
They would lose a lot of money, because I'm sure just having the free transfer.
I would rebuy all my skins if I bought any characters.
Yeah, but you're like balling. Ballerdomains.com. Another plug for you there. There you go. You will get a domain sale eventually. One day. Next news, of course, Team Siren is breaking up. Kind of. They're not really breaking up. They just have a few people leaving and a few new girls joining. So, originally I thought it was from the community blowback, because if you were watching the LCS last week, NA or EU, every pro player that got interviewed after their win was like, yeah, we just outbaited them and outsmarted them. And if you haven't watched the Team Siren video, YouTube that shit. It has like 1 million views and 1 million dislikes.
It's actually not a bad video. Like, the video itself is well made.
The video was very well made. I was impressed. I thought it was great. I think it's great what the girls are trying to do. I think it's great that they're trying to break into that competitive scene and
this is
break the stale, oh, I'm just a girl,
This is...
And they're trying to be serious.
Obviously a male-dominated game we're playing here, but
yeah,
getting a girl team in there, it's kind of cool. I think they should give them a shot, throw them in one of the tournaments. I mean, if they lose, it's fun to watch. If they win, it's still fun to watch. It's a win-win situation for the fans.
Yeah.
Let them in. I mean, whatever happens. It'll be entertaining nonetheless.
That's true.
But I'm surprised that their name didn't last very long. I think they should have been Team Harpy. Spin the Harpies. I think that would have been awesome.
It's almost as bad. But now they're MYA. Or my ass. is that what we're calling it? I don't know what that stands for. It sounds like it was an old pro team. Like, I'm pretty sure Atlanta was on that team at one point. Because I'm pretty sure Atlanta's been on every team that ever existed. I don't even know what he's doing anymore. And we'll just call it Atlanta's team. He's not on it.
Idea.
But MYA is the name of their new team. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I mean, do you think any girls will ever make it in the competitive, like, LCS world stage? Because right now, the only girl that's there is in TPS, and she's a sub.
She's a sub, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they put her on a game, but they're like, yeah, that was entertaining, but, yeah, we need to put a real player here.
I mean, there's no reason they couldn't be in the competitive scene, but, I mean, they're going to really have to work at it. One, I mean, they've got everybody against them at this point, it seems, so they've got a lot of people that are fighting to keep them out of it. And two, I mean, they've got to get, they've got to catch up. But this is one of the few competitive, sports that the girls and the guys can play in one pool, and it's a fair playing ground. So
that is true.
They've got to work at it. They're gonna have to practice. They're gonna have to start entering in the online tournaments, getting into some of the other smaller tournaments when they can, and they got to make a name for themselves there before they're gonna get anywhere near the LCS and those tournaments.
Yeah, if they can place in the Challenger circuit and actually compete in those, top 8 Challenger teams, I think it is?
Top 8 Challenger teams. So
yeah, and then they can go up against the losers of the LCS tournament. I mean, they have a chance. Anything can happen. They could pull out some crazy, amazing cheese. I mean, they could just flash the other team while they're playing, and then the other 4 ace. I mean, you never know. I'm pretty sure it's not in the rules that they can't do that, but if it was streamed on the camera, then it may have a fine associated to it. But, anything can happen. There's always, people are saying that Cloud9 is doing nothing but cheese. They're like, oh, once their cheese is figured out, or once they're done playing cheese, once they get in an established meta, then they're not going to do as good. But to me, all they're doing is they're putting their own egos aside. They're like, okay, Korea, China, and Ghana are the best leagues. Why don't we just take what they do and copy it instead of trying to make our own? So that's what they're doing. I mean, if you talk to L9 or High, then that's what they'll say. So I don't understand why people are saying it's just cheese. It seems like they're doing exactly what Korea does. If you put your own egos aside, you say, hey, we're not better than them, but if we learn how to play like Koreans, because they're the best, or the Asians, I guess you could say all the Asians, because they're the best right now. If we play like them, we learn how to play like them, then we'll know how to beat it.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way to beat it, is get a better understanding of what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's not even cheese. A lot of it's just developing meta. Like, the meta's changing, and it probably won't be cheese anymore because the other teams are going to adapt, and adapting to it's probably going to be playing like them. And that's why the meta changes. That's why you don't send Ashe mid with teleport anymore. I mean, it changes over time.
That was old school.
But it's just going to keep going that way. Even recently this season, you got a lot more reverse. Sending 80 and support mid, 80 and support top. You're moving people around, and that's what a lot of the teams are doing now. So
there's no designated lanes anymore. Everything is, where do you think you'll have an advantage? Where do you think they'll put this player?
Yeah,
then you have to force lane swaps, which gives you extra experience and stuff like that.
This guy can't handle 2 people. Go in there, take the tower in 5 minutes, and then you're gonna swing back this to this lane. And that's how they go into the match with that mindset. They do it, and that's what's winning the games.
Yeah, exactly. And our last point that we want to talk about is Ninjas in Pajamas, Counter-Strike team. Woo, Counter-Strike! Now, the League of Legends, Ninjas in Pajamas, they got 3 new players. So it's over 60% of their team is being completely replaced. Some people are saying whether or not that should be allowed, it is allowed according to the rules. Everything they're doing matches the rules, because what the rules state is basically the sponsors or the main sponsor, the organization or whatever, they own the slot in LCS. It's not the players that own individual slots in LCS, it's the organization. And I know they used to have a limit back in Season 2 where they said you have to have the original 3 members on the team in order to play. And now they just don't have that at all. So it seems as if in order to get more organizations and stuff into LCS and more sponsors for the teams, they had to make this change and say, okay, well, if you have more than 2 problem players, like they're just not showing up for practice, or they're getting wasted every night, or they just suck, or they don't care anymore, they don't want to play, so they quit or whatever, then they can still participate in LCS and not lose all their investment. So I don't know if that's good or bad, because I feel that the players work the hardest to get those slots.
Yeah, and I actually kind of agree on that one. I mean, the players make up the teams, but at the end of the day, the money runs everything. So it's kind of a 50-50, kind of meet the halfway point there. So I mean, if the funds pull out, the players can't play anyway. So I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of the money that makes the rules. So.
Yeah, and if the players were good enough or played together, great, then they wouldn't have people leaving, or they wouldn't have. And they wouldn't have to kick them.
So they're trying to get it. I mean, they're new, they're known, the name is known, but the LoL team is new. So they're trying to get their name up there established, and I think they're just trying to work out the kinks and who's going to play what, who's the best at this, how can we make this work. So they're still, I think that's where they might have jumped in too soon as to putting their name in there as like we're the team. They might have wanted to play a little more first.
They won the Challenger Series though.
Yeah.
So I mean, they were able to prove themselves at some point. They just, once they got into LCS, they kind of just flopped. It's the opposite of L9. But if you look at the EU LCS, what, the top 4 teams or something are not doing too well right now? It's so ass backwards on both regions for NA and EU. All the really good teams are known teams like Dignitas, CLG, Gambit Gaming, Evil Geniuses. All those teams are at the bottom 4. And you just have all the wave of new blood coming in, just doing so much better. And I don't know if it comes down to teams just thinking they're better than the new people that came in, or what? Like, what do you think?
It might be that. I mean, a little bit of overconfidence going in against new blood, Planum. Also they're using stuff they probably haven't seen in lane before. A lot more aggressive play, it seems. One of these teams just getting in there. And they're doing it well. Like, their execution on some of these like early ganks and like early lane fights are just perfect. And they're just taking that early win and just snowballing it. And a lot of these games are over so quick compared to the hour and a half games we're used to in season 2.
Especially in EU.
Yeah.
And that's what I think Evil Genius is having a problem with. They're having a problem adapting, and so is CLG. But CLG is starting to kind of still get there to where they're able to drag it out but still win.
Yeah.
Because the games are still going on for about 50 minutes. I mean, it's better than an hour and 10, what they were doing, but I mean, their average game is 45 minutes, I think, right now.
Yeah.
So, and the average overall is 35. And that includes all 8 of their games. So if you take out their games, it's probably around 30, 28 to 30, something like that. So. What do you think about the new patch being introduced into LCS already? With the jungle spawns being changed.
Yeah, that was a pretty big change. I actually like the change because, I mean, it was a pain in the butt going into like a solo queue match, and you get to bottom lane, you see that a little bit of their health's missing, and they hit level 2 after about 5 creeps, and it's like, it's so annoying. It's obviously they're going to play super aggressive at that point. So I think that helps. Jungle in general, although it changes like the path of them so much, like they don't get that quick to where they can just get up to the lane, so it's...
Yeah, I see a lot more people starting at red buff now.
Yeah, red buff's the way, because you can do the red buff, then you can hit a lane, and you have a lot better chance of getting a kill at that point than hitting blue and then hitting a lane, because you don't have that.
You don't have the slow and the true damage. Yeah. Which is nice. It's just, I've heard a lot of pro players complaining about it. So they say it takes away a lot of the level 1 mind games, which in my opinion is kind of true, but it's also
there's only 2 starting points now, so I mean there's not, you might not start wolves or wraiths or golems, so there's no, I mean it takes that aspect out of it, so it's black and white. It's are you top lane or bottom lane? And then so if they go in and they get a ward while you're not there, and then they know where you're coming next, so there's no setup for it.
It just seems there's a lot more early aggression, like level 1 aggression. There's a lot more level 1 team fights. And I like that. I like the fact that they're doing a lot more counter-warding, a lot more invading. If you invade wrong, it's like you don't know if they're going to take your red buff or if they're coming back towards their own red buff. Yeah. And so I think it creates more of a heartbeat issue. You don't know what's going to happen. It's more of, there's less choices, but if you eliminate one of those choices, like, they're not at their red buff. Fuck, where are they? You have no idea. But you have a general you have a general idea, but you don't know, and so any move you make could cost you first blood.
Yeah.
But then again, you take a look at the stats, and it's like every time somebody got first blood in LCS, they had a 65% chance of winning that game.
Yeah.
And so it's like good and bad. I like it because it would apply more pressure to the players to not get themselves into stupid positions or to encourage more level 1 team fights and things of that nature. But at the same time, it's a much higher risk for a reward that isn't, I mean, it's like 65, 63%, so it's still not guaranteeing you the game, but
it's not a bad way to start your lane.
Yeah, exactly.
Gives you a heck of a good laning phase.
Which reminds me, one of the other ones that was brought up was the team that got the first dragon only had a 40% win rate after getting the first dragon, which I thought was very interesting. I was like, really? Because typically after the dragon, we'll win anyway. That's basically what's happening because there's too much trading going on. Because you'll get a tower and a half for a dragon now.
Yeah,
because people are pushing towers so fast.
Second, people see the tower going, it's like push, take this down, trade.
Yeah, because it's a true trade. You don't see just one person taking a tower while 5 take the dragon. You see 3 people push a tower while 5 take a dragon, and then you're able to push a tower and a half.
Yeah.
Sometimes 2 in the rare case scenario, depending on the team comp.
Yeah.
And it's just so scary.
Yeah, losing those towers that early in the game, it's like it gives you that much more map control. It's like the gank ability of those lanes is like goes way off the charts in those early levels. So it's like, shit.
Yeah, that really sucks. But yeah, that's it for us this week, guys. Submit comments for any drama that you may have heard that we missed. And for the next week, give us a bunch of ideas. Stay tuned. Make sure to like my shit. Subscribe. It always helps, of course. Go to ballerdomains.com if you need a domain.
You still can't say without that.
I can't. It's so bad. Why? And stay tuned for the new website coming out, sitdowngaming.net. Once it comes up, it'll be fantastic. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. You have my word. Even though it means nothing, you have my word. Peace out, guys.